You're listening to Mic Drop Moments, a podcast brought to you each week with me, your host, Sandra Garlick. During the podcast, I invite guests to share their amazing stories, knowledge and top tips, including their mic drop moments, especially for you. I also share my learning and inspiration about life, business growth and visibility. I'm delighted to bring the Mic Drop Moments podcast to you each week to inspire and motivate you to achieve. Enjoy the podcast and don't forget to leave a review. Mic Drop Moments is sponsored by Grow Radio. Want to launch your own podcast? Grow Radio are here to help. Grow Radio has launched and supported countless podcasts, and they'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and they'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released when you want. Need a little extra support? Grow Radio's workshops and courses make getting started easy. Let's bring your podcast to life. Message Grow Radio on social media. Let's make this happen. Welcome to Mic Drop Moments. Today is a solo episode and I'm talking all about how to maintain your focus and achieve more in your business, which is this month's topic. As you know, I always have a monthly topic and like to come into you early and just share my thoughts and some top tips really, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm your host, Sandra Garlick, and today we're diving into a topic that I believe affects everyone in business, and that's how to maintain focus and achieve more. And I think we all want that, don't we? And over the last 6 months, I would say I've really laser focused on what I want to achieve, and it's had phenomenal effects and impact on my business. And at the time of recording, I'm just doing my year-end figures, and in just 6 months alone, I've managed to triple my turnover for the whole year against the previous year. And I say 6 months because I was working on a big contract that finished on the 30th of June, and then the 3 months that followed I was busy visiting care homes because my mum escaped hers and we had to find her a new one. So I got a little distracted, and I'm going to talk about some of those distractions. I mean, we get constant distractions, we get to-do lists, we get curveballs, we're juggling professional matters, personal commitments, caring responsibilities, and it's no wonder our focus can drift, and mine certainly did during July, August and September last year. So really from the 1st of October, that's when my focus really kicked in, and I only share from my own personal experience, and this has really worked for me, but I also want to share some of the tips as well because I'm laser focused on the year ahead. I've got some big goals, and I believe that by focusing on what you want to achieve, you can achieve it faster but with less effort. And I don't mean that's not putting in hard work, because I do believe in putting in the work. You can't sit there and manifest a wonderful business. You've got to take action, and you've got to take the steps to put things into place. So why does focus matter? Well, I believe it's a game changer for the reasons I've just stated. And whether you're self-employed, whether you're part of a team or you're leading a team or you're a solopreneur, I believe that focus is the bridge between intention and achievement. And I've talked about that magic action taking. But it can, if you're focused in everything that you do, and you'll hear me often talk about, will it make the boat go faster? I do believe that every task that comes along on my desk, is it going to distract me? Is it a shiny object, or will it make the boat go faster? Will it help me reach that destination, my goal that I want to achieve? And by staying focused, you can boost your productivity. We often hear people say work smarter, not harder. It improves your creativity, and it reduces you making those big mistakes. I've made loads of mistakes in the past. I call them my learning curves. Mistakes are great if you learn from them and you only make them once, but it does reduce the number of mistakes you made by being laser focused. And I've talked a lot about simplify being my word of the year for 2025. And I believe if you simplify your workflow, you can reduce that magic overwhelm that we so often hear about. And it helps you hit the goals by keeping you moving in the right direction. As I say, you're making that boat go faster all the time. I love boats, by the way. Have I ever told you that? I absolutely love boats and being on the water. I don't like being in it very much, but I love being on the water. Anyway, I thought I'd share 10 practical tips to help you sharpen your focus in business. So tip number 1, set clear, achievable goals. And I think defining your why. Why are you doing what you do? What makes you get out of bed every morning? What's the passion behind your business? What goals are you trying to achieve? And then it's breaking them down into actionable, manageable steps. And I think if we set those clear, achievable goals, we're more likely to achieve them. Now, I don't mean setting the easy ones, like I'm going to climb up to the top of the stairs today, because you're going to do that anyway. They've got to be stretch goals. They've got to be goals that make you want to work towards them. And I've set some really scary goals this year, and they're not all financial either. One of those is to drop working on a Monday. And so that's not financially related at all. In fact, that's doing less work. And I'm halfway there, I think, at this point in time, but I'm getting there and I'm putting the actionable steps in place to make that happen. So goals don't always have to be financially related, although I've got some financial ones in there as well. Tip number 2 is prioritize. And when I say prioritize, I mean do it with purpose. The Eisenhower Matrix, if you read the blog that I've popped on the website on womanwho.co.uk/blog, it talks about the Eisenhower Matrix, and there's a link in there. And focus on what's really important and what truly matters. Tip number 3 is one of my favourite, and that's time blocking in your calendar. Now, I operate my whole calendar on my phone. It links with my Mac, it links with my watch, it links with everything. And I can see it, it's color coded. I've got different calendars that do different things. I can see quickly what's personal, what's business, what's different types of things. It's all color coded. Everything's in there. And I review it every single week to make sure I don't miss things. I've even put in my calendar charge up car, because I did forget once last month and couldn't go to 2 events because I forgot to charge my car. So I time block in my calendar and I allocate specific time slots for focused work. Now, I work best in the morning, so more often than not, my focus time is in the morning. That leaves me time to do other things, what I call my fluffy tasks, in the afternoon. And I always save a fluffy task to look forward to in the afternoon. I get my big meaty frogs out the way in my focus time, and then I do my fluffy tasks later on in the day. And I've had a habit recently of closing my laptop at 4 p.m. Not recently, because I'm in full awards mode at the time of recording. So that does entail some late evening working, and I have been working flat out and even doing a bit at weekends. But it swings and roundabouts. I had a whole week off on the beach and did absolutely nothing. So I'm bound to have to do a little bit more sometimes. Tip number 4. Silence the noise, and that's turning off your notifications. I have an iPhone and I can put it into silent mode, not just when I'm on meetings, but if I want to get something done, I'll just click it onto silent mode. And if you've got a phone that allows you to have VIPs on it, it means your VIPs can still call you. So if the care home calls with an emergency, or my brother calls, or one of my sons call, they're on VIP status, which means they can break the silence. But I know they'll only call me if there's an emergency or they need something urgently. So that silence the noise is really invaluable. And sometimes I even turn off my emails. I just close Outlook down completely and just get on with the task in hand. So I'm laser focused on the things I want to achieve at that particular time. Tip number 5 is create a focus-friendly workspace. What is it they say? A clear space equals a clear mind. I believe if you've got a cluttered life, a cluttered desk, I love a clean desk policy. I know people have piles of papers and claim to know where every single thing is, and they know where every single thing is. Unfortunately, I can't work like that. Yes, I do have some piles, but that's my filing. It's already gone through. I know where it's got to go next. I have shredding piles. I have paper box files. I have all sorts. But as soon as that paper's gone, it either goes into the paper bin, it goes into the shredding bin, or it gets filed away. I keep very little. What I tend to do is I photograph or scan my papers that come. It's post generally. Post I don't want, post I don't need, bank statements. Why are they still sending paper bank statements when I've elected to have them online? I don't know. But anyway, creating that focus-friendly workspace. And at the time of recording, I'm about to completely gut my office and revamp it. I'm having new blinds put in. I'm redecorating. I'm having a lovely gold wall behind me. And when I come onto my Zoom meetings, you might even see it without my Zoom background. I may have all my office done. I'm hoping to have that done later this summer. I did start it in the winter, but got a little bit distracted by one of those shiny objects that we often do. Anyway, that was tip 5. Growing your audience is getting harder and harder. It's really getting difficult to be seen, and visibility is key to that. If you want some help growing your audience, just get in touch. Tip 6, boundaries. I think boundaries are so important, and learning to say no to time wasters. I put a post on social media recently saying that I'm no longer giving away free stuff, and I will give away some free stuff, but on designated days. And the reason for that is I was getting so many people approach me saying, can I just pick your brain? And they'd want to book a Zoom or go for coffee or something, and I'd spend 2 hours of my life just with them picking my brain and giving free advice or giving free stuff away. And they had no intention of working with me. And that's not to say that every coffee I have, I expect people to work with me, but there is only so much you can do. So my discovery calls now are limited. I don't advertise them. They are by invitation only. And I've stopped giving away so much free stuff. I will give the odd free stuff away, but not all the time. And it's amazing the people that come into my inbox on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Messenger, wanting that, let's have a coffee and a chat. And I know exactly what it's going to be. So I'm starting to protect my boundaries big time. And that in turn protects my energy, because I was wasting so much time meeting up with people for those coffees, which were really for them, not for me. It wasn't a two-way interaction. Tip number 7 is build a consistent routine. Start and end your day with intention. Now, a lot of people get up and do meditation and gratitude journals and sit in cold plunge baths. Not for me. Mine's more relaxed, letting the dog out, grabbing a coffee milkshake. If it's in the summer, I go and sit in the garden with a coffee or my coffee milkshake and just look at what the day holds and maybe do a bit of brainstorming, a bit of social media. If it's winter time, I sit in my creating chair and get all snuggly with my hot water bottle. That's what I do first thing, and it helps me set myself up for the day. It's a consistent routine. I know it's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. The dog knows what's going to happen, and we start our day with purpose. Tip 8, and this is a controversial one. I was speaking to somebody recently and they said, actually, some people are born to do this, and that's multitasking. I was a huge multitasker. Now, for me, multitasking led to brain overload, led to slips and trips. It was when I was rushing around multitasking that I slipped and broke bones. And I've decided to take life at a slightly slower pace and just focus on one thing at a time, which means I'm less likely to bumble or fall over. I'm less likely to break any bones, and I'm doing, touch wood, quite well at this point in time. So I have limited my multitasking, and I believe that you can do one thing really well instead of only half doing 5 or 10 things. It's that spinning plates thing. You know, we're trying to keep those 10 plates spinning and we're rushing from one to the other, doing a bit here, doing a bit there. And it's less productive because you're trying to keep all those plates in the air, all the balls in the air, as they say. But I've limited that now. And what I've found is by focusing on one thing and getting it done, it allows me to move on to the next thing. And yes, there will be a little bit of dipping in and out and doing other things, but by laser focus in the morning every day, I'm getting my big frogs out the way and done in much less time. Tip number 9 is review and reflection. Not only do I do this every 90 days and halfway through my 90 days, I do it weekly as well. On a Friday when I finish, usually it's a Thursday evening now because I don't work Fridays anymore. Thursday evening, I just do a little bit of review. I look at the week, maybe write my to-do list out. And then on a Sunday, every single Sunday, I spend just 30 minutes. Now, I might take my Remarkable down into the garden and spend 30 minutes there. I might spend 30 minutes on the sofa, but I carve out that 30 minutes. It might even be in the evening. But I brain dump everything on that to-do list that I've thought about. I go to bed on a Sunday with an empty mind. I'm ready on a Monday morning if I choose to work. And the to-do list is done, the calendar's done, everything's done. But I've also reviewed and checked in with myself because I need to check whether I'm on the right track. I need to check that I'm aligned with my goals, and I need to check my progress and tweak it as necessary, because sometimes we do need to make those tweaks. We do need to refine things. If something's not working, we may need to give it a little tweak. We may need to give something an extra little push. But that Sunday night reflection is really, it helps me to stay focused in the week ahead. And my last tip 10 is your vision. Have your vision in front of you, whether it's on a post-it on the wall, a card or a note to yourself, whether it's in a frame on your desk. You can always print it out and pop it in an A4 frame so it sits there, on a vision board, on your desktop, on the wall, wherever that vision is. You need to remind yourself of it regularly. So many people do a vision board and then pop it away until the following year and then do another one. Wouldn't it be great if that vision, whether it's written or whether it's visual, is in front of you every single day? So you know, you can visualize actually achieving those goals and being there. And it really does help you focus. I remember when I had my solicitor's practice and I had a whiteboard, and I used to put things on that whiteboard. I used to put the 10 target clients I'd love to work for. And I used to put little targets on there of things I wanted to achieve. The whole office could see them. And it was surprising, actually, how often we were able to tick those target clients off the list because we'd focused on them. They were on our vision board. We knew that's what we were looking for. It wasn't that we hounded them. It's that we set our intentions. We knew what we had to do, and we nurtured those potential targets, and they became clients. And it really does say, if you stay connected to your vision, you really are, you manage to achieve things far more quickly by using that focus. So I have a focused routine, and it helps my brain to know when it's time to work and when it's time to switch off. So as I say, I tend to work in my office most days, which is a separate room in my house. And when I finished at the end of the day, I power down and I switch off completely. And then I go and make myself something. I cook myself something fresh. And I don't do it every day because sometimes I cook myself something fresh and cook for 2 days and I've got it there for the next day as well. But I really make sure that I have fresh food every day. I buy very little processed food. So my routine is very much, I've told you about my morning routine with my coffee milkshake. If there's sunshine, I'm outside in that garden. It's on my creating chair. My dog features heavily in my morning routine. And then I always stop for lunch. I always make sure that I have a lunch break, and that might include a walk with the dog if he's not going out with doggy daycare. It might include making myself a light snack and eating it in the garden in the summer, or taking it to a different space to eat it. But I shut that office door. And then in the afternoon, I go back into my office and I tend to switch everything off, between 4 and 5, but more likely it's 4 o'clock, unless I've got Zoom meetings. But 4 o'clock tends to be my switch off time. And that means I can go and create in the kitchen. Now, I'm not a brilliant cook, but I do like to throw everything in a pan. And I do love my chili flakes and my spices and everything like that. And it's just nice to do something different. And I find it very relaxing, especially chopping vegetables. Absolutely relaxing. And it switches off the brain. And obviously, there's comfort breaks and everything. I get up from my desk every single hour. I've got a reminder on my watch, on my phone, and it's called medication time. Every single hour, that reminds me to go and top up my glass of water so I'm hydrated. So it's all those routines, and your routine will look completely different to mine. And I build my routine around whether I'm going out or networking or whatever, but I try and keep that routine going as much as I can, because then it just makes everything so much easier and gives me the headspace to focus. I talked earlier on about saying no without the guilt, and it's always good to remember, and I've said this on here before, no is a full sentence. And sometimes I say, no, I'd love to, but not quite yet. Please ask me in the future. Or it just, I've said yes to so many things in the past and then realized afterwards that they don't actually take me where I want to go. And it's not that I don't want to do the things. They might be lovely, they might be fluffy, and I just might say, well, actually, oh yeah, I'd love to go to that. Fear of FOMO, all those things. But I've started asking myself, do I need to attend every single meeting or event? Am I signing up for things that I won't follow through on? And could I be clearer about my availability? I'm creating those boundaries that protect my focus, protect my energy, and no is becoming a more regular word in my vocabulary. My reflection piece is where my real growth happens, I think. And as I said, I work in 90-day chunks. I build that reflection into the middle and at the end of every 90 days. So I'm going through a bit of a reflection at the time of recording. It's the end of a 90-day period. It's the end of the financial year. I've already set my goals for the year ahead. I know exactly what I'm doing in the next 90 days, and I'm now working on the 90 days after that. So I'm always working a 90-day ahead of myself, so I know what's going to happen in the future. And I look at what worked well, what hasn't gone quite so well, what's distracted me, what I've attended that I probably shouldn't have attended, what I should have attended and didn't, what have I missed, could I have done better, what have I forgotten about, and all those things that that sit on the to-do list, and you put them down further down the pile and actually think, oh, if only I'd done that. So I do a big reflection piece, and I reflect, I refine, and then I go again. And as I say, I do mainly do this on a Sunday, but I do take a week out halfway through my 90-day period, and I do spend a week. So I've got a week blocked out the diary, and I will be working on the business, looking at my goals, doing some refining, looking at my financials, looking at what was the most profitable element of my business over the last 12 months, look at what's on the horizon, and all those different things, and then work on my strategy, because I believe strategy is key. I've got a visibility strategy, I've got a growth strategy, and I've got a sales strategy. And without those three things, my business cannot move forward. And by focusing and having that laser focusing on those three elements, that's how I've seen growth. So here's just some suggestions for you to try, some simple steps to boost your focus right now. Write down every day, I write down my top 3 priorities for that day, or the top key tasks that I want to achieve. I only pick 3. I never pick more than 3. Sometimes I get 6 done. Sometimes I do 10. Sometimes I may only do 1, and I don't beat myself up about it, but I pick 3 of those really important, urgent things that need to get done in that focus time. And then I block out time in my calendar for deep work. I block out an hour every day, which I call my sales activity. Now, that could be anything, but it's definitely in my diary every morning for when I'm most productive. I turn off my notifications for at least 2 hours every day, usually in the morning. I keep my desk really tidy. I'd invite you to have a look at yours. Is it ergonomically designed around your needs? So I've got a laptop, I've got my sound system and speakers and microphones. I've got a second big screen so I can work on focus stuff. I've got everything around me and I've got a really comfy chair. So I know that I can just reach out and reach anything quite quickly. It's only a small office, but it's all to hand. Now, if it wasn't like that, I was scuttling to clear the desk every day so I could just work, it wouldn't work for me. So what does your desk space, your workspace look like? And plan tomorrow's top tasks before you finish today. At the end of every day, I pick my 3 tasks for tomorrow. Before I close my Remarkable down, or whether you use a notebook or whatever you use, pick the 3 things that you're going to focus on tomorrow. So I hope this episode resonated with you. I'd love you to share it with somebody else. I'd love to hear what your views are and how you focus. And until next time, next week, I'll be back. So stay focused, stay fabulous, and don't forget to leave a review. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Mic Drop Moments podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next week for more inspiration, learning, and top tips. Want to work with me on your business growth and strategy, speaking, or simply growing your audience? Just get in touch. Visit womanwho.co.uk to find out how you can start your speaking and visibility journey, or even feature on a future podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's podcast. And if there are any topics you would like to hear, just get in touch with me, your host, Sandra Garlick.